I get a sense that this is a time for us to nap, which is nurture, appreciate, and provide for ourselves. We really need to go within. And I feel it's a collective call from humanity to the universe. And asking is given, and it was provided. Not exactly how we may have expected it to be, but it was provided. I am Terry Wildeman. I am the owner of Intuitive Leadership and about to launch Intuitive Leadership University. And what I do is I work with close to burned out entrepreneurs, business owners, and professionals who are ready to leap off the hamster wheel of life and leap into calm, ease, and flow. And that allows them to become unstoppable intuitive leaders and practical business mystics. We are at a time where our spirituality is being called up, our values are being called up, and our inner calling is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I will say this, it's not a time to step into fear. And these times can take us to that place. I just did a podcast this morning with Dr. Dorothy Neville in my own group, Awaken the Possibilities, around that, because we have, there are so many people that are in abject fear of what is going on around them. And thing is, you are still in control. So are you going to allow the fear to control you, or are you going to control the fear? Fear is an acronym for forgetting everything is all right. And from a leadership perspective, it is truly critical that we shift out of this worry zone, okay? And because the worry zone, what it does, and when we go into constant worry and constant fear, it literally affects our physiology. It brings our immune system down. It increases the cortisol levels. And that opens the door to us attracting every single virus that walks across our front door, okay? Because our immune system is compromised because of our thoughts. Our thoughts are energy. Energy, energy, energy are our thoughts. And please remember this, the Titanic was sunk by what was unseen. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's not from here up, okay? From here up is the practical, tactical, and logical. Here down are our thoughts, feelings, and emotions. When we tap into our thoughts, feelings, and emotions and bolster them up and connect them with the brain and the head and the brain and the heart, mm-hmm. we create a very powerful, congruent energy within us that allows us to lead, to step forward, to move forward, and step out of the worrier zone and into the warrior zone. Yeah, so does that resonate with you, Devorah?
Yes, totally. And I also love so much the way you say things. You know, that's so much of part of how do you bring these big concepts into something like how do you go from the worrier to the warrior? I love play on words that sound like, I heard someone talk about, you can decide whether things right now are going to be tragic or magic.
Yes, exactly. And it's a play on words. And actually, it's really cool because on Friday, we're actually doing a Facebook Live around the power of words, exactly what you're talking about, because the words that we use are a direct connection to our insight, to the brain and the head, the brain and the heart, the thoughts that we are going through, or that we are thinking. And everything is energy. Everything is energy. And from a law of attraction perspective, what we think about comes about. Mm-hmm. So we have a choice as a population to, hey, we're in the throes of this challenge. We have choices as to how we are going to think about it. Mm-hmm. Are we going to go into the perspective of, I get to work from home.
Right.
And I get to clean up my office, which I was just doing before we came on. And I work from home all the time, but I've been doing so many of these Facebook Lives. It's like, okay, I got to clean up what's behind the monitor. So I get to do that. Mm-hmm. I get to spend more time with my husband. I get to exercise. I get to enjoy my yard more. I get to do all kinds of things. And that's what we focus on. What do we get to do? Now, for some people, working from home puts the fear of God into them, because They need the camaraderie.
Mhm.
They're more comfortable working in an office. They don't like to be around their family all the time because they prefer to be, there's all kinds of reasons, okay,
Mhm. Mhm.
why being in the office is better for them. So it's about regrouping and looking for what is positive in the
Yeah.
scenario versus what's negative.
Right. Right. And and I think that's what I was talking about. How, right, first, how do you find the positive for yourself? Like, start there. How do you do that? And
Yeah.
then share that with somebody.
Well, exactly. And that positive piece, the more you share it, and that's a real big key that's something really important that you just said, because when we what is it? Okay, think about it. You share positivity. If we look at a virus expands, right? Expands and expands and expands. So what if on one hand we share positivity, the
Mhm.
positivity virus, and share about what we're doing, what's working. Yes, we're using Purell. Yes, we're washing our hands. Yes, we're taking our clothes off when we walk in the house and putting them in the washer. And instead of this side, which is the negativity virus, which both can flow as quickly. They're both viruses. They both can flow quickly. The negativity virus is, oh, I'm going to get it. Oh, I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it. Law of attraction, you're going to get it. Okay, so avoid going to that place if you can.
Mhm.
Okay, and instead of saying, oh, I'm going to get it, I'm going to get it, I'm so fearful of getting it, I am attracting health. I am attracting health, and I am seeing myself healthy. I am seeing myself feeling great. Yes, I'm choosing to isolate. Yes, I'm practicing social distance to do my due diligence. Yes, I'm doing what all of the medical community is asking us to do, but yet I see myself in a bubble of health instead of seeing yourself in this bubble of, I'm going to get sick, I'm going to get sick, I'm going to get sick.
Right. And so it's this, what is your personal work that you can, what is your individual personal work you can do? Because we all have
Yes.
that. And then what can you contribute that's positive? That's why I started thinking a lot about what's my lane, because I could share a million different posts that are from a different lane, and I read them and they're interesting, and I learn from people's expertise, and I share some of my speakers, like Gina Sager is a general surgeon, so she has a medical background, and so I I listen to what she has to say because she's in a different lane. So she has knowledge in a different lane.
Right.
What I want to have all of us do in the in story world and in my series and in our community is to do what Terry's talking about, which is find these positive, like find the positive stream. Listen to the people who inspire you.
Yeah.
I listened to one of my Israeli teacher friends, and she was doing a whole, it was fun because I was listening to her teach in Hebrew, and I don't get to do that very often. And she was teaching all about how there's one of our most central Jewish prayers called the Shema. It talks about to be with God when you lay down, when you sit in your house, when you walk on the way. And she said she used to think about those as being two different things, when you walk in the way and when you're in your house. And she thought, what if I walk on my way in my house now in a whole new way?
That's called harmony. That's called integration and harmony. Absolutely.
Yeah, beautiful. Love, just you're so good with putting these other new, all different words on different things, and that's kind of what she was doing. Is here are these words that we have put this picture on for in the past, and now what, she said, take a book off your shelf you've never taken off before, or you haven't taken off for years. Stop and look at some piece of art and remember where you got it. So she, so she was kind of trying to, I hope Jane can come on, I start commenting. So that idea of how do you see things in a new way? So maybe talk a little bit about that. I'm going to go see if I can help Jane get in here.
Our perspectives on what is going on in front of us is huge. And unfortunately, we often I'm not going to say we often, we sometimes need help. And I'm going to share a story about perception, okay, because even I, who am so strong, and I know I have big energy, and because I'm a holistic practitioner, I'm a businesswoman who became a holistic practitioner. I am not a holistic practitioner who became a businesswoman. It's a little bit different. There are times that we need to ask for help. And when we ask for help in shifting perspective or in feeling better, that's actually a sign of strength. It is not a sign of weakness. It's strength. And I recently had a situation, and I was just sharing this earlier this morning, that 2 weeks ago when I was down in Florida, because I care for parents down there that are 97 and 94.
Oh.
And I arrived on Monday after a glorious trip. And to make a very long story short, I jumped into a lift and drove to Doral to be on a radio show at 5 o'clock. And we get there and we're taking my luggage out of the car. My backpack was My backpack had everything. ID, money, credit cards, jewelry that I inherited from my aunt from Cuba, on and on and on and on. And I have to tell you, well, first of all, Lyft made a lot of money on me that day because I drove back to Fort Lauderdale Airport and back down to Miami. And it was gone. The backpack's gone. And for 3 days, the vulnerability that I felt was enormous because I was invisible.
Wow.
No one would talk to me because I had no ID. I could not prove who I was. I couldn't get money out of the bank for my parents. I could, everywhere I went, they were asking me for ID and I had no ID.
Wow.
And being that invisible, being that vulnerable, put me in a place I hadn't been in a very long time. And it really brought me down from feeling like a warrior, okay? I didn't feel like a warrior. I wasn't worrying. I was diminished.
Mm-hmm.
I was, I had a hard time grasping. And when I did a meditation when I got home, and no, by the way, I was relying on my parents. I felt like a little kid again because they had to give me money. I had to use my dad's credit card to buy them groceries. I had, it was crazy. And you should have seen me trying to get through TSA to get home. And you did. I learned that that happens. You can't get on an airplane. And I was grilled, but I was able to get on the airplane and come home. And in a meditation that I did, what came up was the backpack was incredibly heavy. I had when I added everything up, my Mac was in there, my computer, all this very special stuff was in there for me. My eyeglasses were in there, on and on. We added up, it was close to $3,000 worth of stuff in that bag. And we found out that it actually was stolen, actually was taken.
Wow.
In my meditation, what I wrote was, because I was doing automatic writing, was I was carrying so much on my back that was heavy. And when I put it down, the burden was lifted.
Wow.
And when I needed help, I reached out to certain friends who helped to lift me. And that's the lesson that we are meant to learn in these very challenging times, is that when things like this happen, there is a reason, and I knew that. But I knew there was a reason. I just didn't like what was happening. I did not like it at all.
Yeah.
But the reason was to recognize the backpack represented all the stuff that I was carrying. And the people in my world who I was carrying, because there was a lot of personal stuff that was going on. A lot. It was a hugely stressful week anyway. On top, on top of the backpack, and it was about something had to be lifted off, and the backpack was actually taken off. And I met people, and this is about intuition. Your show is about intuition. On Wednesday morning, I woke up with this burning feeling in my solar plexus. I had to go to the airport. I had to.
Wow.
So it's 45 minutes away from where my parents live. I jumped in the car and I asked the angels to protect me because people drive like maniacs around there. And I went to the deputy that I met, who took my report for the bag. I sort of got a little emotional, and I was upset because my sister was having both kidneys removed the next day.
Oh my gosh.
He looked at me with this look of shock on his face.
Wow.
And I'm like, "Are you okay?" At that moment, his mother was in surgery to have her right kidney removed.
Wow. Wow.
And she was having that done an hour away from where my sister lived and where I was raised.
Wow.
What I realized was that intuitive piece, and I've been calling it the adventure of the magic backpack. That backpack has taken me to meet different people and experience different things.
Wow.
And what I know is on that Wednesday, that intuitive hit that I followed was to work with him, because later on we got into some business coaching and leadership coaching because of some challenges that he was having.
Wow. Amazing. You know, makes me so think about that metaphor of the backpack carrying too much. It's like that's our world right now.
Mm-hmm.
Our world has been carrying too heavy a backpack, and we've been asked to take it off.
Yeah.
Right? Like we've been asked to take off all of that weight of all of this old identity that we think is dependent on the things in the backpack. And
absolutely,
like I think what happened to you was like also a metaphor in a bigger way for what so many people are having to go through right now, because I think a lot of people in a very big way are feeling what you felt when you lost your backpack, because they're losing all of the things that are their identity of who they are. In fact, even people who are not losing their financial world, like in my Jewish world, none of us have ever seen a time where people can't go to the synagogue. Like in my Jewish world, people go to the synagogue every single morning, right? And we're about to hit Passover and no one can invite anyone to their seders. Like it's a shift in identity. And then there are much harder things, you know, good friends having to close their restaurants and lay off their workers, and this whole sense of what makes us us. Like I feel like that metaphor, it's like it brought you back to what makes me me. It's not the stuff in my backpack.
right?
As hard as that is.
And it took a while to process that, by the way.
I'll bet it did, because it's not a small thing. Those things are important. They are meaningful. They are not worthless or are not valuable. They are meaningful and valuable, but they aren't.
It's stuff. It's stuff.
In the end, we have a beyond that.
Yes, absolutely. And what kept coming up for me, by the way, this is what came through in another meditation, was that the world is being asked to take a nap.
To take a nap?
To take a nap. And NAP stands for nurture, appreciate, and pause.
Oh, nurture, appreciate, and pause.
I mean, think about it. How many of us are tapping into our families, and it's time to nurture ourselves, appreciate ourselves, and pause.
I love
take a nap. And
I really love that.
you know, it's and again, that came through meditation yesterday also. And the other word that comes up, because I talk about leaping from out of stress management, leaping off the stress hamster wheel into calm, ease, and flow. The word LEAP is an acronym for life, energy, attitude, and production, because we actually can be very productive right now. Like cleaning up our closets in our offices.
Well, it's a very different reality for a different it's a really different reality for really different people. Because for some people, this is an extreme loss. For some people, it's an extreme hardship. Truly, for some people, it's extreme hardship. But there are some of us, like for me, it's not an extreme hardship, because I stay home all day anyway.
Mm.
and I teach in line. It's a,
Yeah, so do I. Yeah.
right. So it's not, I'm not in that extreme hardship. You know, I was joking with my husband. Yes, I've had other times where it's been really hard. Different things have been really hard because we all have that
Yeah.
in one domain or another. But the question is, what, first of all, where can you, back to where can you find that positive in yourself? Who are you listening to? And then how can you help
Mm.
somebody? Like it's
Well, that's what I was talking about with the backpack. What took me there was because that vulnerability I had to shift.
right.
And it was in the beginning of this virus.
Mm-hmm.
It was, this was 2 weeks ago when things weren't as bad as they are right now. And um, I had to shift because my mind was going all over the place with what am I going to do with these elders? What's going to happen when I get home? And I had very good friends, and that's the key. It is about reaching out to your support group. It is about reaching out to the people who are there to help you and stepping out of thinking that you're so strong and powerful and knowing when it's time to ask for help.
Right.
Asking for help is a sign of strength. It is not weakness.
Right. I know.
You
So
know?
too, I did a whole training for my community, my
Yes.
In Story Way group on ask, on like, what is it?
Yes.
And do you ask? And everyone was like, no, I couldn't ask when I was a kid, and like relearning how to ask.
It's a good thing to ask because ask actually puts you in the warrior zone
Right.
instead of the worrier zone.
Yes, I know, but we think we're wimpy, you know, or many people got really as kids slammed when they asked. And so
Yes.
they learned, I'm going to just hide and not ask. And now we kind of get to have it back. So, so Jane had to drop off but you'll see her interview everybody also this week, and that I think she has a client come. So I do want to lead one quick little guided meditation for everybody before we jump off. So everybody close your eyes and just begin to notice your breath coming in and out. Really allow yourself to feel that shift to stillness. And feel a sense of breathing bigger than your physical self. And then allow your awareness to shift to that flow from above and feel your connection to God, Source, the universe, and feel that pure light from above coming down to the top of your head, filling your whole body, your whole being with light, love, healing, blessing, guidance, clarity, down through your feet into the earth, grounding you in the earth. And breathe up that solid, rooted, comforting energy of the earth in to the center of your being. And be aware of being in that state of connected flow. And I'm not going to do my whole 5-step in-story guided process now. I just want to lead everyone into that expanded state of connected flow and feel intentionally this healing light coming into your being. And then I had this image, and I want to just lead us to think in this way, that to imagine that above us, like in the realm of the sky, is this huge amount of healing light. And actually, I'm going to take it back one notch. Feel this light around you personally, and then begin to surround all of the people in your closest domain with this light. And then allow it to spread. Feel that just as we have this image of a virus spreading, I had this image of an equally contagious spark of light, like a very healing light that when it spreads, it heals and antidotes all of us from this virus, and it spreads just as easily. And you can spread it by your visualizing and your intention. And I imagine that you can imagine this light that's in the sky, and then imagine this light surrounds our entire planet, and that flowing down is this very healing light. And I encourage you to feel that this healing light is flowing into you, and that it is so alive and strong and powerful, and that you can ask We were just talking about asking. Ask God, ask the angels, ask your higher guides, ask for this light to heal you and to heal all of us and to protect us. And I had just this image of this, just like the virus is this tiny invisible energetic force, so is light and so is healing, that we send that out. And so I send all of you a blessing that you should feel this love and light in you, around you, and surrounding all of your loved ones, and that we then take the time to send this out all in the world, because, you know, with all prayer and with all of these things, it couldn't hurt, and you never know. So come on back. I encourage you to do that. And I just want to introduce Jane, who is our other wonderful speaker today on the show. And this is Terry and Jane, meet each other.
Hello, dear.
I'm so excited to meet you, Jane.
So Jane, share just a little bit about who you are, what you do in the world, and then maybe, you know, a couple of inspirational thoughts that we're all doing to raise ourselves up in this moment, because of course that's what we're doing. All of us light workers types are, how do we raise this moment up? So
hi, hello listeners, and I just want to thank, if people to check in the future here, I want to thank you for some lovely emails I've received this morning in light of you your listeners enjoying our interview, and that means a lot. Good. And it's just very telling how much connecting and supporting each other at this time is of deep value, and really sends warmth and compassion to my heart. So just want to thank some of your listeners for the emails.
Good. Yeah, it does. You know, it's funny because in this email world, often, like, I send all these emails, but I send them out to a whole list. A lot of times I never hear anything back. And so it is nice when someone takes the time to write back.
True. Yeah. That's why I'm here in recognition of that. It's very true. It's here we are. So anyway, I am Jane Friedman, and I'm a transformational, intuitive, very clairsentient type of healer who applies the timeless teachings of yoga and astrology. I read the astrological chart, and I also have a yoga studio where I teach yoga, and I have combined them in a year-long program called Rebirth Your Worth, because I believe that worth is the fulcrum for any transformational experience. You must know you're worthy, you are wise, beyond measure. And yes, I lead people into the wisdom of their heart. That's who whatever. I am a mother of a 19-year-old. I am a partner and a wife to my husband, John Paul. And, you know, this time, I actually feel like there's more of a thought virus that could be even more harming than this actual horrific biological warfare kind of going on with this virus. It's real. And from the astrological standpoint, I hate to say this like this, but I guess I don't hate it that much. This is perfect. In that, I know it's a very, it's a kind of a weird thing to say it like that, but it is a time of awakening.
It is.
And it's the time of recognition. You spoke to it so beautifully, Terry. Your experience is absolutely the metaphor of our time. It is time for regime change. It is time to renovate. And we are renovating our lives from the inside out.
Inside out.
So don't give your identity to extrinsic societal conditionings, right? There you were without your backpack, which we're all, wherever you're dragging your heart around, people, unpack it. Unpack it. Yes. Here's your permission slip. It's right there. Here it is. Okay? Sign it, set intention, and commit. Release all the limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
And accept that you are light and love.
Yeah. What a concept.
It's
It's
brilliant.
that simple.
Mhm.
Seriously.
It is.
It's not to mask over your fear and your anxiety and your worries and concerns. It's actually to hold the hand of those experiences. Because
Yes.
I don't know if it was in my teaching I did Sunday on Facebook or in our interview, but listen, when you're experiencing fear, just to keep it simple, what I call the distractions to your instinctual, intuitive knowing. And there's 10 of them that I list in my Worthy and Tonic newsletter that you can sign up for. That's my free gift, everybody. It comes out tomorrow on the equinox, and the sun goes into Aries once a month. Yeah, it's cool. It's all around worthiness message, obstacles and opportunities, and then practices to support you leaning in, right? To feeling agency, Aries. Anyway, I want people to know something, that when you're experiencing fear, you are not fear.
Right.
You are not what is in your backpack that is now lost.
It's gone.
You are infinite potential. You are a source. Take it in. You are love. You are the creator who can come up with the solutions to your problems. Now, this is also what's going on. There's 6 planets in Capricorn. You kind of want to know where they are in your chart, because that is what's happening. That's the breakdown. The very fabric, the very foundation that we have been assuming has always been there. It's been an illusion, and it's actually time for you to go inside and rebirth and reclaim your own inner authority.
Yeah.
Power and control. And now I say, recognize the only person you can control is yourself.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's it. It's the Capricorn, take responsibility. It's joyful.
Right.
It's blissful. Like, how liberating is that?
Right. That's come up for me a lot too, is how do we tap into a kind of a joy that isn't dependent on outer circumstances? And that's been a message that's coming up a lot, right? That there's this other inner, and that, like you said, you are not your fear. There is underneath that, there is beyond that. And so,
No. Right. You're experiencing sensations and thoughts
right.
of fear, but the truth of who you be is not fear.
Right.
So we're learning to be the best parents to our inner child. When we get caught in the trance of fear, in the trance of unworthiness, right? In the survival, tendencies, we're fight, flight, freeze, dissociating, we can self-regulate.
Yeah.
We can manage our mind. We can connect it with our heart. That's all wholeheartedness is. It's mindfulness. The mind and the heart are in clear communication. That's why intentional practices really are what going to lend you buoyancy right now. I mean, isn't this fascinating? That this particular virus is around the heart. It attacks the lungs. It's our collective sorrow and grief. Lungs. The largest organ, it's unbelievable. It's the heart that is really wounded.
Right. And that's why it's this whole thing that it's an opportunity. So James, share like one last thought, and Terry, one last thought. So I want to wrap up, because I want to go not too much longer than a half an hour, because I just want people to have just these moments of a little extra inspiration to find what you're talking about, to find that. In fact, maybe we won't add any more. We're just going to take in what we've got, because, or go ahead. One last thing.
one last thing. Intuition does not come forth if you are not embodied, if you are not in the present moment. We talk about this in the interview. You must arrive in presence. So the power of pausing and stopping the reactivity is very important. All you do is stop. Put down what you're doing. Take a conscious breath. At the bottom of the exhale, relax in. We do it on our interview. Relax in. Stop. There's a reason people have been doing this for 2,000 years.
Yeah.
And longer, right, Terry?
Yes.
It's not rocket science. It's in your hip pocket.
Yes.
It's just remembering.
That's right.
It's hard to remember when you're caught in reactivity.
It is.
That's why you must practice it when you're not caught.
That's right.
Like right now. So let's all take a breath.
All right.
Just arrive in stillness. You can stand, and we take a breath in. A breath where you know you're breathing. Meaningful. And at the bottom of the exhale, relax. Relax. In. Yeah. And feel. Feel the sensations. Give your mind's attention to the felt sense of your aliveness in the present moment. Your kind attention. This is the only way we can then be in service to others. Yeah, it starts with each of us taking that responsibility. Yeah, to be the love, as you say, and the light that we be. It's absolute and it's non-negotiable. Yeah. Ho.
Thank you. Thank you both. So beautiful. We have so much wisdom and inspiration to share, and for everybody listening, that's true for you too.
Beautiful summit here. Thank you for doing it. Perfect timing.
Yes, isn't that amazing how things happen? I could plan this months and months ago, right?
Right.
Launch this week. So
absolutely.
Terry, thank you. Jane, thank you. Everybody watching. We are sending you a lot of love and light and blessings, and we will keep growing from this.
Yes.
Well,
choose it.
Choose it. Absolutely.
Choose it. It's a choice. All this is about conscious choice.
Yep.
You don't have to believe. You just have to say yes to the experience of infinite potential, of love, right?
Yeah.
Just say yes to the experience of your intuitive intelligence, and you'll be amazed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
I love all your angels back there, Terry. I love it.
You like those? They're
they got your back.
They do have my back. And every time I'm like, I need to move my angels. Nope.
No.
They're part of my enchanted boardroom.
Awesome.
I love it.
All right, everybody, go forth.
Have a beautiful, beautiful day, everyone, wherever you are, whenever this is. That, as I always say in farewell, remember to go out in the world, share your story, live your purpose, and be a blessing. Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Devorah. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.